lovelies. So today I'm going to talk about something that most everybody, except for maybe murders and stuff, like to talk about. But it's something that I feel like everyone should talk about. And it is the end of our lives and the care that we want to be given and what we want to be done with our heavenly bodies. Um, yeah, it's not popular. It sucks to talk about. It's a scary thing to talk about. I know a lot of you guys have young kids, and I'm just a firm believer that we need to talk about these things when it's not scary. I mean, it's scary to broach the conversation and talk about them, but it's not I know if something, say, happened to my dad and I had no idea what his wishes were, I would just be devastated and I would probably carry something with me for the rest of my life feeling guilty. Like I either let his life go on too long, that it became torturous, or I cut it off too short. Something research wise came out. But I know what my parents want and they know what that I want. And I think as young as you can talk about it is, and you don't have to talk about it in okay kids, when I die of a heart attack, I want to be buried here and here and here. You make it be a nice thing. My dad sometimes says oh, I've always wanted my ashes to be scattered in the ocean. That's where I feel the most peace. I didn't freak out when he said that. Well, I might have been well, are you planning on dying soon? Just because we use humor in our family. But it's something we talk about. And when I got my driver's license, we talked about organ donation. Right then, I did not want to talk about that. I did not want to sign up for it because I didn't even want to think about it. And then when I talked about it and actually thought about it, I was like, you know what? That is something that lines up with my beliefs, and that's something that I would really want to be a part of. And later in my life, 100% more, I think every single person on this earth should be an organ donator. I don't care what your religion, your beliefs are, or what, because that's just what most people don't really care, because those are my beliefs. But I just 100% think, because I have been in someone's life that has ended very young at 5 years old and has saved other people's lives. And I just think it's the biggest gift that we can do. Maybe it's us, maybe it's still God, I don't know. But yeah, it's just, we were just talking about my neighbor down in Florida, and do not resuscitate. And I don't know if you guys have seen in the news, there were stories everywhere about a woman that got DNR tattooed onto her chest, because first responders generally don't know that, and they will proceed with any type of life-saving activities that they can, to because that's kind of what they do. They're lifesavers. But she got that on her so that as soon as they ripped her clothes off to do any sort of palpitations or clear, which they, I should actually say that, but that they would see that and then withhold any kind of thing. So for me, I'm from a younger generation, and I kind of think a year from now, you never know. They could have mechanical hearts, they could have this, and people that are poor might have better whatever. I just believe in the medical system a lot more, so I kind of would want people to, I'm not saying a long time, elongate my life, and but my parents are a completely different school of thought. If they're gonna be agonizing, suffering, pretty much that is the status quo. They're not gonna get any better, or they would be pretty much, it's, they also want to, if I had the thought of pulling the plug. And I wish they had a better like phrase for that because it's such an awful phrase. But like that's what they call it. So that's what I'm just gonna say. Like that devastates me that we very much want it to be a decision of God. Like you either die or your body gives you life again. But not something that machines and things like that, like life support systems, would keep you alive, and then we would have to say, okay, pull the plug. And so it's kind of like our decision, if that makes any sense. And that's just a conscious thing. Like we don't want that on our conscience, and that's just like how it is. So I very much know what my parents want, and I talk to them about all sorts of stuff, and I know that's unusual. I know that's not the norm, but I think at the very least, talk to your kids early on. I mean, I don't think it's ever been like a huge scary subject for us because we've talked about it for a while. Like talk about it with grandparents. Like those are a great time to talk about like